Hi crafters, welcome back to another segment of KISS, Keep It Simple Sylvia. Month of July, and we're working with odds and ends, and we're doing another recycling project. 8 cartons. Remember these as a kid? Made all sorts of goofy little animals out of them. Using as an adult for storing beads if you're into jewelry making or anything like that, or any little tiny little objects that you need at your desk. They make great little holders for that. They're very durable. But what we're going to do today is we're going to make flowers out of them. There's all sorts of tutorials out on YouTube that show you how to do this. And I'm going to show you my take on them. So first of all, what you need to do is we need to separate these. Now 8 cartons come in all sorts of shapes. You can see I've got some pretty spiky things on mine right here. A lot of them have just got holes in the center. You know, right where these all meet, right in the center. Well, what we need to do is we need to take it apart. So we're going to take the top off from the bottom and just rip it. And we're going to take this one off. A lot of times you get a strip that doesn't have all these little nubby things on it like mine has on it. And I'm just going to tear this off. Set everything aside. And then we're going to start separating these sections. You can just kind of pop them. Kind of pull them apart, pop them. Just start separating the sections. I'm going to trim them up in a bit. Just want to get them pulled apart. Some of the tutorials say you only have to use 2 of these little containers, but the more you use, the fluffier your flower is going to be too. So, and then it also depends on how many petals you're going to tear to form these. So we just need to just pop these apart, and you just see everything just kind of pulls apart real easily. And don't worry about if you're going to rip anything when you start pulling them apart, because we're actually going to tear the pieces up more as we go along. Okay, so I got all my sections apart. Now, obviously, these nubby things I need to tear down. And I want to tear so that it looks more like a flower petal. I don't want to tear directly across. I want to tear where it's got more of a shape to it. I don't want to leave any pointy ends. So I'm just kind of tearing it. Okay, and then we're left with this little cup. And you can see there's some natural indents here. These will be where your first tears are. Follow those natural lines. Okay, and then you have your choice from here. Do you want to tear it into 3 or you want to tear it into 4? And this one I'm going to tear into 4. So I have 4 petals. Sometimes when you start tearing these apart, you realize that you can't do 4 and you only got room for 3. Okay, now you see it's all kind of pretty ragged looking. Just kind of shape them up a little bit so you haven't got all these little pointy ends on them. You know, like right here. I mean, that doesn't look much like a petal. So I'm just going to kind of just shape it up. And you can see I've got some square up here. And just want to give like some spaces between a petal. So kind of tear them down a little bit. And you certainly don't want to leave these points on. And just get these all shaped up like that. And see this one right here, let's get rid of that. And I don't like this up here on the top. Okay, so now we got something that looks like this. Okay, and now I'm going to tear up another one. Do the same thing to it. Okay. So I'm going to just keep tearing this. You know, one thing that you can use these for, which I think are really cool, is you can use them as a stamp. Just ink them up or paint them up, and then you get a cute little hollow circle stamp impression on that. Works good on jelly plates or just stamp on cards or journals or whatever. Kind of cute like that. Okay, so I'm just going to follow the natural bends in this thing. I'm just going to keep tearing. Follow it here. And I'll be making 4 petals out of this one too. and then even them up. And as we put these together, we can still shape them more once you get them together. You're probably going to find some that really stick up in the back and look kind of wonky. Might want to just shape them up a little bit. After a while, after you tear a lot of these things, my hands get really tired. Oh, actually, I did 3. Only got 3 out of this one. Now, the thing that you want to make sure you do is if you start using 3, you want to make 3. If you're going to start using 4, you want to make 4, because we want to make sure that our petals get staggered. And like this is a 4, and if you put a 3 on it, it's hard to stagger your petals. You're going to have at least one that lines up. So that's important that we use the same number. Okay, so I'm just going to tear up another one then and see what we come of that. And save these. Don't throw this stuff away. This stuff makes really good paper mulch. You can soak it in water and put it in a blender, and you come up with this wonderful mulch that you can use in multimedia to build character and depth and all sorts of objects with. It's wonderful, and you can mix it with like Elmer's glue or some kind of white glue or flour and water, and just use it to add texture to whatever multimedia that you want to work with. So save your scraps. I'm all for saving scraps on everything that we do. If you follow my videos, you'll see that I'm always saving scraps. Okay, so let's see what this one's going to tear into. Let's hope I can get 4 out of this one. Yeah, I think so. I think we'll get 4 out of this, so we can continue with that other flower. Yeah, okay, I've got 3 tears here. Oh, another one. Okay, here we go. We got 4 petals here. Okay, and I got to shape these up a tad bit. Okay. And try to make them look more like petals. Okay, come along, okay. Okay, and then we need hot glue for this. Sorry about not mentioning that sooner. We need hot glue so we can start gluing these things together, okay? So I'm just going to put some, you can either put hot glue down in the center here, or you can put it on the back of this one, whichever is easier for you. I found it works better since this has got a ridge and it's got that indent, that I don't put it in the indent because it's not really going to adhere very good, so I just put it around the ridgy circle part. And I want to make sure that I stagger my petals as best I can. Okay, we got that glued down. And then I just kind of just like when you're making paper flowers, you know how you kind of roll the edge out a little bit so the petal kind of turns down. Just shape that a little bit. This one's quite tall, so I'm going to trim it down. And then any gaps we can always fill in with leftover egg carton. Okay, and so now I'm going to use another one. I'm going to, because this is kind of sparse looking. The more you use, the more it's going to fill in look more like a flower to me. Okay, so let me rip this one down. One, two. Okay. Okay, and I'm just going to trim these up. Get them to look more like petals, like I did all the other ones. Okay, got that one. And glue this one together. And once again, I'm going to try and stagger them. Okay, looks pretty staggered. Flip these down a little bit. tear this one up, fix this one up a tad bit. Sometimes they tear real good, and sometimes it's like you hit something that's holding the carton. They're pretty tough material here. Okay, so now we got something that looks like this, okay? And when we were tearing our top off, now we need to tear these sides, because we're going to use these sides right here. And just, you know, rip them up. You can go all the way around. You can stop at the corners. You can do whatever you want, whatever works for you. Okay. All right, now I'm actually going to use part of one of these strips. Not a whole strip, just part of it. Okay, and I'm actually probably going to tear some of it off. And it just depends on what the edge is that I want it to look like. So I'll probably tear from this end here. Because now we're going to make that coil that kind of goes, looks like it's got in the center as the petals are starting to unfold. But what I like to do is I like to give myself some tears on the top here. So it looks like I'll have some petals that I can kind of flare out a little bit, and it doesn't stay in a complete coil. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to just kind of coil this up. And I'm just going to coil it first just so I can get the egg carton kind of pliable, a little more pliable to work with. I'm just rolling that up. And then if you uncurl it, you know, I have something that looks like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to uncurl it now. And this part right here, I'm going to actually glue down so it looks like it's real tight in the center down here. I'm just going to put some hot glue on that. And just kind of hold it down on itself. So it looks like it's a real tight butt in the center there. And hold it down till it's set. Okay, and then I'm going to coil it back up again. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue all around this bottom edge here. I'm not going to put it in the cup. I'm just going to put it on here because I want to make sure every edge is coated. I'm just going to run some hot glue on it. Okay, and then I'm going to stick it in the center here, and I'm going to let it kind of uncoil a little bit, not a whole lot, just a little bit. And hold it down till it sets up. Okay, now where I tore it originally, I'm just going to kind of tear it down a little bit more so it looks like I've got petals coming out. Okay, and we have, you know, it's looking okay like a flower, but not great. Got a little gap right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this part of the egg carton and I'm just going to tear a strip. And I'm going to fill in that area. Once again, I'm going to coil it up just so it gets pliable. And then I'm going to give myself a few tears again so it'll look like some petals and I can maneuver the petals. And put some glue on the bottom. And then in this area that's kind of empty, I'm just going to kind of gather it up and lay it in there. And hold it till it's set. And then kind of push those little areas that I tore, kind of push them down. Kind of curl them up a little bit so they look more like a petal. Okay, and there we have a little roll. Now you can paint this. You can spray it with some spray paint, or you could spray it with some ink. You could leave them just like how they are. Isn't that cute? And wasn't that simple to do? I love it. I'll show you some more that I made. You know, each one's different and each one's unique. I'll find the one. This one I made where I tore it into threes. It was easier for the carton to be torn into threes, so I put some layers on it and then did the same thing, filled in the center here with some leftover. And you got a cute little rolls. I just think these things are adorable. I love the actual texture of egg cartons. I think that they're just amazing texture. And they're so fun to work with. And if, you know, you find that you want to add more petals, all you got to do, and I think I'll do it with, I did that with one of these already. If I can find it. I added some more petals on the back side. This one right here. Yeah, on this one, I had like an open area here and I didn't like it, so I just added in here. And all you need to do if you want to fill it out is just actually, you know, this part that we rip off here, this works real good. Rip that off, kind of take that point off a little bit, put glue on the bottom, and stick it in wherever you think it needs to be. Like right here, I'm going to put it right here to fill in this gap right here. And now I filled in that gap. And it's so easy, just a piece where you think that it needs to be filled in. These are so cute. I'm going to paint these up and do something with them. And they're quite substantial. They're not a little flower, okay? I mean, this fits in the palm of my hand. So you'd have to be working on some big multimedia. Or how cute would this be to put them on some wire and paint them all up, or just leave them plain like this and make yourself an arrangement out of them. It would be so pretty, and talk about everlasting. Last forever. How cute is that? Okay, crafters, thank you so much for joining me on this segment of Kiss Keep It Simple Sylvia. And I just want to give a shout out to all of my subscribers. You just make my heart sing. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you taking the time that you do to watch my videos, and I hope that you enjoy them as much as I do. I love revisiting childhood memories. I love doing the crafts that I used to do as a kid and that I've passed down to my children, and I just think it's important that we keep these simple crafting ideas alive, and it makes for, to me, joyful crafting. And takes its simplicity. We can spend lots of money on all sorts of gadgets and papers and things in the crafting world, but to get back to basics and use the things that we have on hand and recycle them and repurpose them just makes it all that much more exciting. And I thank you all for subscribing to my channel and for your wonderful, kind comments. Please join me again next Friday for another segment of Kiss Keep It Simple Sylvia. Bye for now.